Good morning, dear students. Hope you all are doing fine and you are following what has been explained. And previous class we were discussing about the control statements, how we can use control statements in algorithms and flowcharts. So control statements are nothing but the statements which help us to make a computer to take a decision, and we can make a computer to do a repeated task. So hello, welcome back. Today's topic is problem solving methodology, which is chapter number 5, and the weightage of this chapter is 17 marks. And then today's class is part number 13 of problem solving methodology. So we will be discussing as continuation to the previous topic. So you saw how we can use for, while and do to do some repetitions in algorithms. So we will be continuing the same topic and we will see how to implement these concepts in flowcharts. So here let us have a look of the different advantages of algorithms. As we know that algorithm is a step-by-step solution to the given problem. The advantages of a algorithm is it is a step-by-step representation, or it's a step-by-step solution given to the problem, and as we write the steps using simple statements, it is easy to understand. It is a step-by-step representation of a solution to a given problem which is easy to understand. The next advantage is it has a definite procedure. It has a different process which can be executed within a period of time. And the algorithms, they are not dependent or they are not specific to any computer language. Algorithms are generalized. Generalized means any language, any computer language you take, algorithms, they are independent, they are not dependent on the language. They are like the generalized steps. Then we have it is easy to debug. Debug means it is a step to find the errors. So these are the advantages of algorithms. Let me repeat. So as algorithm is a step-by-step solution to the given problem, the steps are easy to understand. As algorithm has a definite procedure, as when we study algorithm, I have been telling you that algorithm is a process of writing steps required to solve the given problem in a systematic order, or there is a process of writing steps. So as there are a procedure followed while writing a step, they can be executed within a period of time. The third advantage is the algorithms, they are not specific to any programming language. ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಬೇಕಾದರೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಆದರೆ ಅಲ್ಗೋರಿದಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫ್ಲೋಚಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ರಿಮೇನ್ ಸೇಮ್. Then the fourth is it is easy to debug. Debug means finding errors. It is easy to trace if there is any problem. Then we have the disadvantage of algorithm. The disadvantage of algorithm is it takes lot of time, as we need to write the steps in detail. An algorithm is developed first and then algorithm is converted to flowchart, and then the flowchart is converted to a computer program. algorithm first bariತೀವಿ. The algorithm is converted to a flowchart, and then the flowchart later on the flowchart is converted or it is translated to a computer program. So even in the when you are studying the problem solving methodology, first you learned algorithms. First you were taught to write algorithms, and then the same algorithms were translated or they were converted to flowchart, and later on the same flowchart we will convert to programming. We are yet to start, that is the next unit after problem solving methodology. So you will be learning programming in C++. Now whatever steps you are writing, the same thing you will write a program and then you will execute, you run that into a computer system and you can see the result also. So these are the disadvantages. One is it takes lot of time to write the steps. The other one is first we need to write the algorithm, then the same has to be translated to flowchart, and then it will be translated to a computer program. Next is analysis of algorithms. What exactly is analysis? The analysis is, let me just explain you in the general terms before going to the definition. See, there may be different ways using which a problem can be solved. See, I have my own way of thinking, person A may have his own way of thinking, person B may have her own of thinking. So we all have the different thinking capacities and different ways of solving a problem or finding the solution. So we all have our own way of thinking. When a problem is given, we all may apply different techniques or methods to solve the given problem, as every human being has different way of thinking. Then here analysis of algorithm is nothing but there can be different ways of solving the same problem. Which one do we select? Which solution do we select? See, as there can be many approaches in the sense there may be many methods, there may be different methods using which we can solve the problem, but there is one problem and 10 solutions, and out of 10 solutions how do we select the best one? That is nothing but analysis of algorithm. We select or we measure an algorithm on two quantities. One is space complexity and time complexity. Space complexity means if I use, so imagine there is problem 1 P1 and there are 10 solutions S1, S2, S3, S4, S10. Then so which one do I select? There are 10 solutions for problem P1. Problem P1 anta ankoli, there are 10 solutions S1, S2, S3, like S4, like S5, S6, like that, S10. Now we need to decide on which solution is the best solution which I can apply or I can select. See, the selection of solution depends upon two things here. The two performance or the measurement, it depends upon the space complexity. Then we can decide if there are 10 solutions, each solution how much space it is taking in the memory. The next thing what we can consider is the time complexity. That means how much time is taken to get the solution for that problem. And we analyze an algorithm depending upon three cases: best case, average case, worst case. Best means out of 10 which is the best method which which uses less space and which runs in more faster than the other 9. So now a algorithm, it depends upon the input data, and there can be 3 cases: best case, average case, worst case. Best case is the algorithm which takes the least amount of memory and executes faster. Average, it is in the medium range. Worst is it takes most number of the memory and also it takes lot of time to get executed. So this way a algorithm is analyzed based on best case, average case and worst case. Let's move on to the flowcharts. So we need to discuss few more flowcharts in detail. So here we have a flowchart which finds sum and average of n numbers. So first sum 0 ide, count 0 ide. So we are adding n numbers and we are finding the average of that number. Let's discuss few of the important flowcharts. So here we have a flowchart where we are finding sum and average of n numbers. Now initialize sum is equal to 0, count as 0, enter a number, say the number is 10. Now we are accepting a number and that number we are adding to sum. So you can see here we are accepting a number and that number is added to sum. As we have taken one number, we are incrementing the count. Now average is equal to sum divided by count. So as if there are 6 subjects, we take the average by calculating the sum of obtained marks divided by 6. Similarly, we are getting the average by dividing the sum by count. Count is nothing but the total number of values available. So we are checking here, is n is equal to 10? If yes, that means we have finished 10 numbers. Otherwise, we will continue with the process. We accept another number and then we add to sum. Likewise, till n value becomes 10, we are repeating the process. As you can see here, we are repeating the process if the answer is yes. Sorry. If n is equal to 10, then we are terminating the process. If the answer is not equal to 10, then again we continue. Let me explain again. Sum is 0, count is 0. Now enter a number. So we are accepting a number. See, then we are adding that number to sum. And then we are incrementing the count. As we have taken one number, we are incrementing the count. So average, we are finding the average. Average is equal to sum by count. Then we are finding whether we want to stop, whether we have finished 10 numbers. If we have finished 10 numbers, then we will print the sum and average. If we have not finished, then we continue the process. So next is we have This is one of the very important topic or important flowchart, because this will be asked for your annual exam for 5 marks, and it has been asked many times. Exam point of view, kindly make a note that this is one of the very important flowchart. Write a flowchart to find the sum of digits of a given number. So, what is sum of digits? Let me explain what is sum of digits. Sum of digits means if a number n is, say, 1, 2, if say n is equal to 43, now sum will be 7. That means sum of the each digit. For example, if n is equal to 1, 2, sum is equal to 3. That means sum of the two digits. So, if n is equal to 4, 5, 8, sum is equal to 4 plus 5, 9, 9 plus 8, it is 9 plus 8, 17. So, like this we are finding sum of the digits. So, first input n, we are taking n, sum is equal to 0, sum is 0. Is n not equal to 0? n 0 ಆಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ, ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ say n is, imagine n is equal to 1 and 2, 12. Is n not equal to 0? That is true, because n is 12. Then you observe this step. Remainder is equal to n percent 10. That means n percent 10. As explained earlier, percent will, it is called modulus operator. Percent will give remainder after division. 12ನ 10 ಇಂದ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ರಿಮೈಂಡರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. 12 divided by 10, what is the remainder? Remainder is 2. Now remainder is 2. Then sum is equal to sum plus 2. So sum was 0, now 2 is added. So sum will become 2. Now n is equal to n by 10. Divide 12 by 10. 12ನ 10 ಇಂದ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. So n will be 1, because 12 by 10 is equal to 1. Now n is equal to 1. We have taken 2 and then we have added to sum. So now n is equal to 1 and sum is equal to 2. So now let me write it neatly. So sum is equal to 2 and n is equal to 1. Now check this step. Remainder is equal to n percent 10. 1ಅನ್ನು 10 ಇಂದ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ರಿಮೈಂಡರ್ 1 ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So remainder will be 1. Now we are adding it to sum. That means sum already has 2. 2 plus 1. So 1 is added to sum. So sum became 3. n is equal to n by 10. n is 1, 1 by 10 is 0. Now we are checking. So this repeats. While n value is 0, 0 not equal to 0, false, because 0 is equal to 0. Then we are printing sum. So sum is 3. Like this we are printing the sum of the digits. So let's have a look of another algorithm, another flow chart where we are printing whether the given number is prime or not. A number is prime only if a number is divisible by 1 and itself. So ಯಾವ ನಂಬರು ಅದರಿಂದ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಒನ್ನಿಂದ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿವಿಸಿಬಲ್ ಬೈ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ 1, that number is called prime number. So for example, prime numbers are 1, 2, 3, 5, then we have 7, 9 barala because 9 is divisible by 3. Then we have 11, then we have 13, 12 is not a prime number because 12 is divisible by 1, 2, 3 and also it is divisible by 4 and 12. Therefore 6. Therefore it is not a prime number. So prime numbers are divisible by 1 and itself. For example 1, 2, 3, 5, 4 barala because 4 is divisible by 4, 1, 2 and 4. Yava number, so it is divisible by only itself and 1. Such for example 1 is divisible by 1, 2 is divisible by 1 and itself, that is 2. 3 is divisible by 1 and 3. So 5 is divisible by 1 and 5. So such numbers we call it as prime numbers. Let's see how we can find whether the given number is a prime or not. So here we are taking n, then we are taking square root of n. Square root of n means if n is equal to 4, we are taking square root of 4 is 2. So like that we start dividing the number from 2. If after dividing the number, if the remainder is 0, then we are printing it is not a, then if the answer is 0 after dividing, then we are printing it is a prime number. Otherwise we are printing it is not a prime number. So let me explain again. First we take the n value, then we are taking the square root and then we start from 2 because as we know that a number is divisible by 1 and itself. For example, if you want to check whether 9 is prime or not. So imagine n is 9. So limit is equal to square root of n. Square root of n is limit will be 3. Now for I is equal to 2. I is 2. Now is n. n is 9. Percent I is 2. So let's see. Is 9% to 9 ಅನ್ನು 2 ಇಂದ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ is remainder equal to 0. It is false because remainder is equal to 1. Fine everybody, if it is false, again it is repeated. You can see here it is false, then it is repeated. Now next I, that is I will become 3. Then we divide the same number, that is n% I. n is 9, I is 3. Then we divide 9 by 3 and check the remainder. Is, when we divide 9 by 3, is remainder equal to 0? Yes, remainder will be 0. If it is true, then we are printing It is not a prime number. So this is how we check or find whether the given number is prime or not. Let us see an example where we are generating Fibonacci numbers, which you have already studied in algorithms. Fibonacci numbers means the numbers starts with 0 and 1. So first number is 0, second number is 1. 0 and 1. The next number is 0 plus 1, 1. Next number is 1 plus 1, 2. Then 2 plus 1, 3. Then 3 plus 2, 5. Then 5 plus 3, 8. 8 plus 5, 8 plus 5, 13. Like this it goes on. So now let us see, have a look how this can be done in flowchart. So first we are accepting n, I is equal to 1, and then it is f2 is 0 and f3 is also 0. Then we are checking, first we are printing f3. f3 is 1 that we are printing. Then we are changing the order. So say so now f1 is equal to 0 and f2 is equal to 1. So now I is less than or equal to n. Okay, n is nothing but till where you want to print this series, 100 or 200 or ಎಲ್ಲಿ ವರೆಗೂ, that is n is the limit. So now we begin with 0 and 1. Then we are printing f3. f3 is 1 that we are printing. Now we are making f2 as f1 and that means we are adding this and this. f3 is equal to 1 plus 1, that is 2. Again this repeats. Again we are printing 2. Then again we are changing the values here. You can see here we are changing the values. Then we are adding 1 and 2. Like this it repeats and till n value. So I is equal to I plus 1 till I becomes less than or equal to n. If you want to print 10 Fibonacci numbers, so I will be counted 10. I will be counting I is equal to 1 to it will count till n. N can take any value. If n is equal to 10, then we are counting from 1 to 10. If n is equal to 20, then we are counting from 1 to 20. So this is how we generate a Fibonacci series. So you have written a algorithm to calculate the factorial. Let us see the same problem using 3 methods. So you can see here, these 3 are the different methods of finding the factorial. We are taking number, here also all these methods are same. Only here there is condition, but here there is last condition and here there is for. So first in while we are checking the condition, here we are checking the condition later, and then here we are using for. So you can see how the same factorial problem can be written in using 3 methods. I hope you have understood today's class, and next class we will be discussing few more algorithms and flowcharts, or next class we will be learning about the flowcharts, advantages, disadvantages. Hope you have understood today's class, and any doubts will definitely we will sometime you may be called to the college, that time you can make a note of those things. Or we have a Zoom meeting, kindly attend the Zoom meeting, and in Zoom meeting you have any doubts, you can definitely discuss, we can have a discussion with that. Thanks for your patience listening. God bless you all. Have a great day ahead, my dear students. Thank you.